Alright, good afternoon. It's Welcome 3 here, and we're doing a different type of video this time. Um, we're actually going to be doing a new series on, well, basically, it's going to be a cartoon that I've been doing a cartoon series for a while now, but I just want to show you the ins and outs of actually doing it. Now, as you can see here, I already pulled in my comp, made the layer. So you can see my settings. It's going to be basically HD model. I have it set for the duration of 40 seconds, which I actually have to change because this copper is actually longer than my normal ones. So I'm going to change that right now to, oops, four, well, sorry, 4 minutes and 40 seconds. Okay. So that I can be, it will actually fit what's inside of the system. Alright, now that I have that inside of here, okay, so if you look through the comp right now, you can see that it's actually going through, and it's a World of Tanks battle that I have going right now. And you can see that the main thing about this is because in this battle here, I'm actually surrounded by, well, 6 tanks in total, with not a lot of health for a tank. So as you can see, it's fully detailed, and you can see everything else of that. But the change of the cartoon is a bit different. So let us take her back to the beginning. Okay. Now, I do have presets already made for this and for that cartoon. So if you want me to do presets and show you how to make the cartoon presets, you'll have to actually, make some comments and everything else to that, and I will go into that in another video. Okay, so if you see, as you see, I type in cartoon, I have presets. Now there is a stylized cartoon setting inside of the system. It's well, let's just show you. Okay, that's how it looks. It looks, I'll bring it to a little bit further to see how the trees don't have the detail that I want. It is sharper and everything else to that, but it's not the way I would actually like it. So let's get a little bit closer. And as you can see, the details are, again, if that's your style and everything else of that, that's fine. You can use the presets. It will get you to a cartoon feel and everything else of that, but that's not the feel that I want. So let's go back, and I'm going to unapply that effect, and I'm going to drag in my cartoon settings into. Now, as you can see, it's actually more of a ghostly feel. It doesn't feel as though it's hard lighted into it. It's not as sharp as the edges, and you can see it's more cartoonized. So I'm gonna get to the same section I was at before, a little bit further forward, so you can see the outline of the other tank. Oops, that's after the explosion. Another explosion. Okay. Now you can see it's more ghostly here and everything else, so it's more like a normal cartoon. Now, I'm going to undo that again. Undo apply an effect. Now what I normally do is, and I usually duplicate the layer, control duplicate, and I will rename this, rename as copy 1. Okay, now I'm going to go back to my original one, drag my cartoon settings into that one there. Now if I do like this, and it dragged it to the wrong one. Okay, well, it's this one, that's no problem. Undo a layer switch a couple of times. Oh, Joy. Okay, back to the original. Okay, forgot to do that, so I don't see the other one. So now I know I'm not on the right layer. Now when I drag the cartoon section onto it, it should be again on the right layer. Okay, now once I've done that, so you definitely know I'm in the right layer. On the second layer, I do transform and I bring the opacity of the second one down. Now this is where it gets to the fun part. I normally put it at about 50% to start off with, and then I go through it just to see if it's where I'm at. Now, again, if I go further forward in the timeline, okay, now it's a good spot right there. It gives me the rough details back. And you can see if it's enough. So, okay, I like it right there, but let's go a little bit further forward. Because again, I still want to have the cartoon feel, but limit some of the detail. Okay, now when I'm looking at this one here, looks like I have just a bit too much detail. So I want to, you have to get a feel for it, because each project is going to be different. So I'm going to go down to 35%. Okay, just to get a look at it. Okay, so now when I go through it, so that I do still get the depth of field that I want, still getting all the detail, but it's more whispering and more of a cartoon. Again, let's go back to where the tree section is, so you can look where the trees are. Okay, so again, you're getting the detail. Again, I'm gonna go in and out. It grabs enough detail from the trees, and you can see the line over here that you can see it the way it needs to be seen. Now I can actually, bring the detail up or down, but I tend not to do that at this point, just because I just want to make sure that it's right where I want it to. Okay, so let me go further along in the comp and check the details. Okay, that's great. So I'm getting a fair amount of detail. Still, I'm seeing the sparks the way I want to, but it's looking more cartoony. Okay, as you can see from the smoke and everything else like that. So it's just right. Okay, now again, you can play with that option a little bit, but you always want to do that in a copy layer, so you can basically turn it on or off to see if the detail that you're seeing, if it's enough or if it's too much. Again, I want to be able to see the outlines in the section and not just look at it without seeing any detail to it. Okay, now again, you can look at it and see still have sharp details, but it looks more cartoony. If you turn it off right here. Okay, now again, if I click on just the layer itself, that's just how much of a mask. It's just enough to see the details in the background and the hue and everything else like that. Okay. Now we have that done. Now the next thing I usually do is put in the other elements that I want into it. Well, I want this is going to be something I'm adding, because I'm going to make a shield effect, but I need to show the detail of it. Oops, sorry. Let's set up into project settings. Okay, so I want to drag in my shield effect. That's going to be the tank icon. This is going to be able to incorporate a large system inside of it, so you can actually see the shield effect. So that's part one. All right. Bring this over here. Now I have to go, I want to pull in some of the sounds that I selected for this. So So I'm going to go into downloads. I'm just going to wait till the downloads finish, pull up completely. Okay. So now with the shields packing a wallop, I want the Photon Torpedo launcher sound. And as you see, this is the actual large interface that I'm going to be bringing in. And that's the only two out of that section. Now there is the one other section I need to go into. That's in my documents. I'm going to switch it to today's date. And now this one I actually grabbed from somebody else. This is from the creators of the actual program for Lars. So I wanted to bring that in so everybody can get a chance to see that. Okay. All right. Now I want to bring in the trailer for the Lars. I want to bring that in at the bottom. Okay. Now I want to move these two layers back. Oops. There it is. So I can move both layers at the same time. Move those out of the way because I will be doing with that in a little bit. But then I have this. Now as you can see, that's not filling up the same screen section as that. Okay, well, which is that's the bad thing. So we're going to transfer the scale. And let's see, that should go up to 125. Nope, not quite right. So undo that. And I just want to get the scale right first, and so that then from there I could just drag it out like this to where I needed to. That's always easier. So easier is always better. Okay, so now as you see the display right here, it's showing that everything is cool, fine, and then basically at this point all hell is breaking loose. So I want to split this just a bit. It's right about just before red alert. Actually, let's just hear it just for a second. Okay. Okay, so that's not where I want to start from.
All stations, red alert.
Actually, it's exactly what I understand. All stations, red alert. Okay, so from right here.
All stations, red alert.
Okay, so I just want to make sure. Okay, so I want to split this. So now, when I have it, it will go from this, all great and dandy, to basically red alert and all hell's about to break loose. Okay, so I would rename this to red to red alert. Oops. Well, a red alert what? The operating name, sorry. And that's the Lars. Lars is basically the computer setup for starships. It's the complete computer console. And I'm going to rename this normal Lars. Okay. So, now we have the normal Lars. Now, what's going to happen is I want it to do like this. The minute I see him is when I want the image to come in. So all hands, red alert. After he shoots. So right about here when he ducks back down. Let's go forward a couple of frames. Okay, but I don't want the other guy to show on the screen just yet. So let's go back 2 frames. Nope. Come on. Okay, right about there. Alright, so again, I'm going to grab these 2 frames right here again. I'm going to split. Edit. Split layer. Okay. Now we're going to move this layer. Stop getting in the time base. Thank you. Okay, right about there. And right about there. Now I want to go into it a little bit further. Whoops. Now these have to exactly line up, so bear with me just a bit. And I know people can do this faster and everything else like that. Again, I'm not an After Effects pro. I'm learning this myself, so therefore you have to bear with me. Again, if you have any tips on how to do it faster, great. I'm all open to doing that. Now, I know you can press the button here and select it to do it too. And I actually got to go out. And okay, so just move you, snap to there, and perfect. Okay, now we can go back out. Now we want to move this one to here. Press it just a little bit, just want to make sure I got it in exactly the right spot. Okay. Now I'm probably going to have to move the frames just one frame or another just to make sure that they're in the right spot. But now I want to move this one. Okay, so if I click once, it should give me the full red alert signal. Now, I'm gonna judge how much of this I actually want, and I don't think I really want that much. I just want to go to about here, maybe a frame or two back or forward, right there. That transition is actually perfect for a split area. So again, edit, split the layer, and this layer here is going to go away. Alright, now that I know where that is, I'm moving this layer up to here where it's supposed to be. And I'm going to have to go in some because I can already see that the layer is not exactly where I want it. Actually, I don't need this layer anymore. I'm actually going to remove it. Because it's interfering for what I want. I mean, I have part of the layer and that's all I really needed. I didn't need the whole thing of it. I wasn't sure how far of it I was going to actually use, but that was enough. Yep, and you see the jump. Okay, so that comes in right there. Now, so let's move this back out again. And I'm actually going to pull this layer down to here so my layers can match up a little bit easier and everything else to that, so I can really get into it. Okay. Alright, now it looks here, that's going to be kind of confusing. Alright, so copy 2 and copy 1. So let's rename this one. Rename this one as Opa. And then to the Opa layer. Okay. So that way there I can know exactly that's the overlay that I want to mess with. Now, probably ask them, okay, well, you have this one all nice and clear, and this, why have you not changed that? Okay, that's what I'm going to do right now. Now, I'm actually going to take out all of these other layers, so they can't be seen, and I'm going to normal layers, grab my cartoon effect, throw it on the screen, and whoa, is that going to be good? No, it's too wiggly. So let's undo that first. It's going to duplicate that layer. Again, duplicate. Okay, and then we're going to rename this one. And we're going to change this to, so we know this is the popular layer for Lars. Okay. Now, grab this, my tool again. Put the cartoon settings on here. Okay, then go to the Lars 2 settings. Transform opacity down to 35%. That's what we'll be using. And again, we can play with that layer to see if it's enough. Now, let's look at it. Now, you can see that while out it looks more wiggly, but with it in it, it does bring it a bit more detail. But I think I want to bring in just a bit more. So I'm going to try 50% with this layer here since it's more static. Oops. And let's try that. 50% looks better. Okay. And again, you can play with that to your liking to make it. Again, I still want to have the cartoon feel as if this is a Starship cartoon, and they have the layer on that they made. So you definitely want to make sure that you have that right. Um, I'm gonna close this for right now. Okay. Now everything is in here the way I wanted to. Alright, so now we've done that for that layer there. Why do you have a blank? Oh, wait, because you forgot to turn your other layers back on. Alright, so now he's seen coming out. Okay, now when it's close up inside here, I don't like it. It's too much. Just want to yeah, that's too much. So I want to turn that back down. Just go to 30. Well, look, check 35%. Okay. So, okay. So what I'm going to do here, and I can see it already happening. It's like it is. And right now I'm going to lock this opacity right here, and I'm going to backtrack to when it zooms in. Okay, that's when it begins to zoom in. So at that point, I want to put another one right here, but I want to change the opacity back to 50%. So meaning before this point here, it's going to be at 50. I'm just looking at the screen again, looking like a cartoon. Then when it gets to right here, it'll drop down, but it's going to take too long for it to drop down. So I'm going to go zoom back in. Oops, a little bit too much. I'm going to go one layer forward and change that down because I wanted to go back down to 35% very fast. Now I know there's a way to lock it so it changes instantaneously the minute it hits that. But I wanted a bit of a change, even though it's only one thing. But it'll look like a little blur is added at that point. Okay. Now I'm going to go back again. Just to check and make sure it's exactly the way I want it. Now this is more of a close-up, so I want to see how much of a blur effect it has. Okay, that's not where I like it. So again, I'm going to go back again. And actually, let's see how long that is. Let's actually go out. How long is it into the normal settings? Okay. The display coming up is on stilts for me. It feels a bit too long. That's just 20 seconds or so of not much happening. So I'm going to change that. fades in here. Right about there. Okay, so I'm going to grab these two layers here. Oops. Grab those two layers. Um, Split those layers. Again, I'm going to move you up to. Oop, they'll still grab together. Move you up to there, so I can easily see it. Move you down to here. Oh, actually, you should be above it. Okay. Now, I'm going to go forward. Okay. Right about there. Because I want it to be. I don't need the Lars thing to be on it that long. Um, it looks great and everything else of that, but that's not the effect of the picture. So it's a bit. I should have chopped this up before time. Is for that. Simply because I didn't do it before time. I liked it, the whole effect when I was doing it, but then I'm noticing now that the length is, and you do this with products all the time. You will notice stuff like this after you've already done it. So okay, so right there. Oh, no, 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 stop, no. The wrong button. I'm going to again compose. Sorry. Split the layer. Undo split layer because I didn't grab them both. It always takes me a second to grab it. There it is. Split layer. Okay. I'm gonna do time change because I wasn't trying to change the time. Bringing it back to here. And grab two layers here. Goodbye. Okay. Now I'm gonna grab all of these other layers. Excuse me, that's wrong. Alright, let's look at that. Oops, wasn't hitting playback, sorry. Yes, now it changes over to this like I wanted to at the time of that one. Okay. So now back over here. Everything is targets, red alert. And I want to play from right here just to make sure I grab the right segment. Okay, so just hold on for 1 second. Just want to